Hello, everyone. My name is Kenneth Obayuana. Welcome to another amazing episode of Agritech Founders Diary podcast. And today, joining us is no other person than our own big brother who is doing amazing stuff in the agritech space. He's not that person than Mr. Soji, the is the CEO of AirSmat. So today, he's going to be taking us to the journey of what they are building with AirSmat and why they started their journey of building this company, and also tell us some of the few things he has been able to achieve building this company in the last few years. So the first thing first is first of all, I want to welcome you to our platform today. So on this podcast, all we do is we share stories of architect founders who are doing amazing stuff on the globe. We share their stories. The whole idea is that we observe that whenever investors want to invest, they invest in tech space, they invest in the tech space. They really does not consider as much as possible as the um, agritech space. And so we decided to document the stories of agritech founders who are doing amazing stuff in the agritech ecosystem. And today we are so excited to having you join us to share your own story with us. So first of all, we'd love to meet with you. We want to take us through the entire journey of everything about yourself. Tell us everything about yourself, everything we need to know about yourself. And then I got to become I got the idea of building smart. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Kenneth, for the opportunity to be on your podcast. And
Mhm.
I think you are doing an amazing job, documenting the story of founders. And there is no better way to see behind the scene of those of the founders within the agri-tech space, for example, until you hear them tell their story. So I think
Yeah.
it's a wonderful privilege to be on your podcast to share my own story, and um, you know if not, it will serve to encourage other people that will want to build within this same space and for future generations. So I want to say well done for this amazing job, and thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. Now, back to your question of myself. Of course, you did the intro to your viewers. My name is Soji Sanyaolu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AirSmat, a company that was founded on the back of 2019. The first
Mhm.
set of conversation about AirSmat was held in 2019, and that was the month of November precisely that I met my co-founders, and we began to talk about how do we use data to help farmers across the continent of Africa. And fast forward to 2020, the company SMART was born precisely, for example. And that's the beginning of SMART. This is what we have done between then and 2020, and now we've been able to build this amazing application platform that is targeted at helping farmers. What does ESMA stand for? You may ask. For example, our
Mhm.
goal is to help farmers to grow more crops sustainably, leveraging technology, while helping them to unlock the power of agriculture to combat climate change. And my own story as a person, it's I came from the family of farmers. My late grandpa he used to be a farmer. He was a farmer, a smallholder farmer, southwest Nigeria. And I used to go to the village with my mom. I took myself and my siblings to the village to see our parents. And I enjoyed going to the farm with my late grandpa, spend a lot of time with him. And I reckon that was where the idea of supporting farmers was written into my subconsciousness. Fast forward, went to the university, had a computer engineering background, and stepped into technology. And so when it was, the topic of SMART was brought to the fore, it was so clear to me I needed to solve the problem that I saw with my late grandpa as a smallholder farmer, but solving them in a new way. That problem where farmers across Africa continent, for example, are using guesswork for their day-to-day operational decision. That problem that I saw at that time still exists today. And that's what the problem that AirSmat is trying to solve. We coined out the notion of farm data, that within every farm, there's what we call data that is collected. And just like yourself and me, and indeed your viewers or listeners to this podcast, you have us going to see doctors. We go to the hospital at one point or the other. And often, you will agree with me, Kenneth, the doctors will come and say, hey, can you get blood sample, urine sample? What are the doctors looking for? They're hunting for data, they're looking for information to be able to give us precise medication to us as human. And the farm is not different. The farm has loads of data. If only we could collect this information in the most cost effective way, collect those data and they process them for farmers, for it to make sense to the farmers, we are in a position to help them to optimize their crop yield, and they of course turn their farm to, as a tool, as a place to combat climate change. I
Mm.
think this is my story. For example, and how smart, the rationale, the thinking behind smart, the problem we're trying to solve, and all of those good stuff. So I can keep talking. I want to stop for now and see if there are other questions
Yes,
from you. So,
yes. My next question for you will be: what's the pain point that AirSmat is trying to solve? What's the pain point you're using AirSmat to solve?
okay, I think that's a fantastic question there, Kenneth. So, like I alluded to, so the problem Smart is solving today for farmers is in twofold. A, we want to help farmers optimize their crop yield. Okay, so leveraging
Hmm?
technology. How can we use technology to advise farmers to grow more crops sustainably? Sustainably, I use that in an amplified format. Why? So that it's not everything that's on fertilizers and chemicals and all of that. Can we leverage data to optimize their crop yield? Problem number one. We want to solve this pain point for them. Beyond that, one of the challenges as an active player within this ecosystem, you agree with me, is farmers, they struggle with revenue. So if they can grow more crops and they're able to sell, they make more money. That's number one. We're increasing their livelihood. And then the farm, agricultural farms up and down the country, Nigeria, where we operate, and across the continent of Africa, there are opportunities for these farms, for ESMA to unlock the power of agriculture to combat climate change. Climate change is upon us, and there is data, there is fact about that. Can we help these farmers play their key role in sequestering carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and storing that as carbon within their farm? And then on the back of that, we are helping them to, take the carbon credit that will be issued to them by doing this and putting that to project sponsor, so that for the first time, farmers, not just in Nigeria, but across sub-Saharan Africa, can begin to earn money from carbon credit that will help them largely, not just to solve their growing crops, but put money into their pocket by combating climate change. So that's the pain point,
Hmm.
access to capital, optimizing crop yield, for example, for farmers.
Fantastic. So, what's been your challenges so far since 2019 you started this company? What's been your challenges so far um in running the business, in running this company? What's been some of the challenges you faced?
Um, yeah, and I will talk as straightforward as possible.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
one of the challenges, and there are many, but I will mention few, but one of them is adoption. Okay, so if you look at the
Mm.
demography
Mhm.
of farmers, smallholder farmers in Africa, the bulk of them are 65-year-old and above. Of course, that is
Yes.
changing now because
Yeah.
you now have younger people coming into agriculture. So
Yes.
that demography, there's a problem. Education and adoption of technology, correct? So I can build AI like AirSmat we have built. We have AI powered platform. Fantastic. That's a story. How will a smallholder farmer consume the capability? And so that's one of the pain points, one of the challenges. So, and what that means to us at AirSmart is we're digitizing the least digitized industry across sub-Saharan Africa, and that's agriculture. Like you alluded to, fintech is digitized. Most of the other
Yes.
industries digitized. Agriculture,
Yes.
least digitized. If you want to play within that space, it's like climbing the mountain. So that for us is a big challenge, but it also gives the opportunity, okay? Because as the demography is changing, younger people are coming into agriculture. Those are born in the age of the internet. They understood AI capability, they understood data. And so we think for us at TestSmart, it provides a growth potential for us into the future. And so that's one of
Uh,
the challenges. Another one I will tell you is the innovation.
okay.
Innovating within the continent is a big challenge, especially when you are innovating and the cost of innovation is, for example, in United States dollars. I mean, I need to be as practical because this founder
Yes.
story. You are
Yes.
innovating and you are hosting your. I mean, for us at Smart, we hosting our capabilities in the cloud. For example, we're using very
Mm-hmm.
high-end machines to process data, and then you are spending in US dollars, for example, and then you are earning in local currency. So you know what that means, Kenneth, correct? So you
Yes.
have to
Yes.
then deal with the challenges of handling that. But we've been able to solve that problem for us at SMART. I may not be able to put all of the details of our solution on the
Yes.
media, but we found
Yeah.
a way to optimize our OPEX to make sure that we keep the light on. Otherwise, if we spend so much on OPEX, especially where there's disparity on revenue and the expenditure in terms of currency, is a killer for any company. I can keep talking, but those are few of the challenges I think we face, for example, as a company out of Nigeria. So
I see. I could imagine. So, but a lot of people face the issue of adoption. Can you share how you been able to work out to see how the 55 years and above, how they been able to adopt your technology, being that is
ah,
AI powered, and what are the and can you share one or two things you are doing to break that barrier of adoptions and I think it's not just Nigeria a lot or Africa a lot. I think it's a universal stuff at the moment. Um, even the UK, some other part of the world, they've fully not, especially in the agricultural sector, they've not fully embraced technology. They want to do it the normal way they've known it before. So how you been able to break into that cycle to be able to help the business going?
okay, good question, Kenneth. So there are a few ways we started. You see, 2020 when we started building this capability, the first question is how do we even find our customers? You can do the check. Just Google. I want farmers list of farmers in Nigeria. No chance. I mean, Google has all the information, correct? But you Google
Yeah.
list of farmers, address, phone number. You don't have them. So how did we find our customer? It was the biggest challenge. We built this
Yes.
amazing platform, but we can't
Mhm.
get who do we show to? So one of the ways we solve that problem, which is the topic of adoption, is we
Yes.
have to go into partnership with organizations that deal with farmers. And today, I think it
Okay.
was on the back of 2022, AirSmat were able to strike a partnership arrangement with a commercial bank, for example, and that's like
Okay.
unlocked the opportunity. So farmers in Africa, they work in cluster, a group of farmers, and
Yes.
they often require funding from the bank. So if they go to the bank and they say, I need X amount of money, fantastic. The banks are in charity. They want to give the money, but they want to be sure that the information that the underwriters will use to approve this loan, they're authentic, they can be easily validated. Like, how large is your farm? Ask a farmer in Nigeria or in Africa, I mean, sub-Saharan Africa, how large is your farm? What's the size of your farm? Often they will be, I was told, is 10 hectare, correct? So they aren't sure themselves. So they don't know the theater of operation, how large it is, and then the banks are unable to support them. So for us, that arrangement with the bank, we could help the bank to capture those level of information so
Mm-hmm.
that the banks can make informed decision to authorize or they approve, disapprove the loan. On the other hand, and then we can help the farmers on their own journey. So that tripod relationship from the bank to AirSmat and to the farmer, like unlocked the door for us. For example, we
Mm.
now had access to thousands of farmers, number one. So that is one way we are able to break into that circle. And it was a very, very early journey, but I think I'm very happy where we are today. Then beyond that, in terms of adoption, is the use of language. Okay, an
Okay.
average farmer, they understand the language, but they may not be able to type big grammar, but they have problems.
Yes.
Okay, so there are issues, and in the past we leverage the use of extension agents. Fantastic, they have their role, but they're human. Correct? Extension agent cannot be in every farm, in every location at every time. So, meaning that the
Mm.
farmers still struggle, and it also comes at a cost to those farmers. So, what did we do differently at SMART? We worked extremely hard to combine language processing with AI, capability to provide answer to farmers. Okay, so on our mobile application that is available both in Android and in Apple, it's called AnyFarm, ANY, then Farm, FARM. AnyFarm,
Mm-hmm.
that's the name of the app. On that app is a feature that is free. It costs zero to the farmers. They can ask questions in local languages. Today we support
Oh,
major
fantastic.
Nigerian languages. So the flow
Mm.
is simple. They don't type because they may not even know how to type, but they can speak the language. So pick the phone, speak to the phone, and then we intercept and do all the process of language processing and send it to the backend. AI kicks in, gives the answer, and comes back to the farmer, and the farmer can hear the audio answer of what the answer is to that question. So in practical terms,
Mm.
these are ways we've driven adoption, for example, and I can
Mm-hmm.
keep multiplying examples. We have human field agents where necessary. We have experts on my team, agronomists. These are farmers themselves, but they understand technology, they understand the local people, and then with that, we're able to combine to support farmers that we've been working with so far. So let me stop because I will keep talking. I talk a lot, so I
Yeah,
keep
I
quiet
see.
now.
No, fantastic, fantastic. You've shared we keep value here. But can you share with us some case study of farmers who have been able to success story? That would be the best one. Can you share some success story of some farmers who have been able to use SMART and maybe cause some transformation in their business? Can you share some case study of or success story of farmers who have leveraged on your platform and make some good profit or something? Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I will give you just one example because the list is a lot, and I know
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
out for time now. But I
Yeah.
recall one of our customers in northern Nigeria. At the time, he was growing maize, and he met AirSmat, and we were
Okay.
able to support him on for that planting season. Um, the value we
Mm-hmm.
brought to him at this point was we were able to reduce the money he could have spent on fertilizer. Okay, because at the end of the day, the goal of SMART is regenerative agriculture, zero
Oh,
chemical.
okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so I know the fertilizer company may not like this, but it's the right thing to do for climate, for society, for the food, the quality of food we eat, and all of that, the environment. And so we help this farmer to reduce the cost of fertilizer. That's needless money he should have spent to buy fertilizer that he did not need. Okay, and how did we do that? We used AI. Okay,
Hmm.
we got the data from the soil. Oga, what are you growing? I'm growing maize. Okay, where's your farm? 11 hectare. We went there, did all of those normal traditional soil sampling, and then we fed it to our own platform AI, which is in-house. We don't expose that to the public. It's in-house.
Yeah.
It's called Farm Probe. We just go in there and put the data, and on the other hand, the AI said, well, based on the fact that this guy is growing maize and this is the soil composition, he should be doing A, B, C, D. We fed that to him. And then this farmer came on record. When he got the yield, it was extremely surprised. And he told us the story that on that year, the price of maize fell in the market, correct? But he had so much yield with minimal cost, he was able to offset, it brought so much to the market. So despite the fact that the crop yield, the price of maize that year was low, it brought so much to the market, it was able to offset that. So it was win-win for him. He saved money from input, and he was able to sell more. And that story still resonates with me till today. And the story continues. January this year, I made a product announcement that we will be unlocking the farms of farmers to combat climate change. And that's
Hmm.
another way we will be contributing to doing, the science-based, data-driven agriculture. How do we help, 1 hectare of farmland, do all of the, soil carbon sequestration, CO2 sequestration there, and then beyond that, deploy biochar to the farm and help these farmers to make some revenue from project sponsor. This is something that we need to do. And I think for me, I'm solving this problem that I experienced with my late grandpa. Hopefully, when I'm done and I'm leaving the stage, I would have solved problem for smallholder farmers in Africa, and then make significant impact on mankind. For example, it's a personal mission for me, and I'm so grateful. I have amazing co-founders, an army of very passionate colleagues that work day in day out on this project called on this amazing company called AirSmat, and helping to achieve that objective, helping smallholder farmers to optimize their crop yield and unlocking the power of agriculture to combat climate change. So,
That's amazing. But let me ask you one more question. I have like two more questions before I go, but let me also begin to wind down now. But my next question will be: in your journey so far being a smart, what have been your most proudest moment so far in building this company? What have been your most proudest moment?
And I mean,
Yeah,
that
that could
was
be a tough one. Yes.
that's a tough one. Um,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think one of the proudest moments is what I shared already. That we aren't
Okay.
just building software for the sake of it. We're a software company, okay? As simple as that. But just that we're writing code for farmers is the fact that a farmer came and we worked with him and he gave us this success story. I mean, and that was super cool. I was like thrilled. Oh yeah. Okay, that's one moment for us that I think fuels our mission. So I wake up very difficult terrain, the truth be told, to do what we're doing. I mean, we do not have anyone to copy and paste from. We're innovating from ground up. If you know what that
Yes,
means,
I could
correct?
imagine that. Yes.
so, so that is painful, correct? And we're doing it in Africa, so we're not, we're doing it, with all these codes written in Nigeria, for example. So when we do all of that and I get this type of feedback, I equally got feedback from the bank that we had partnership with, and it was so phenomenal when I was being told that we saw your work and it's different from others that we have seen. Those type of feedback just turns me on, makes me very happy and say, yeah, that's it. We're doing what we should do,
Hmm.
and the helps, of course, my colleagues and staff at AirSmat to do more, for example. So you said you have two questions. I don't know if that one was answered.
Yes.
What was the
So
next one?
yes, yes, that one was answered already. The next question for me was, what do you think about? What do you think about investors investing in, or will I say, how do you fund yourself? Have you been able to raise funds? Because most times when I come, I was so happy. For most times when funders come in and like, what's your problem? They're like, funding. I'm looking for money, But at least your case was a bit different. You didn't mention like your biggest problem is funds. Yours was adoption. It was really different from what every other person have said. But I would love you to say something around funding. Have you been able to raise funds in terms of from investors, venture capitalists? If yes, how was it? How did it go? If no, are you considering it in a longer part? Share your story around funding with us.
Yeah, well, expert, we raised capital early days, and
Okay.
then we had VC on our cap table. We've been opportune and fortunate to we were part of Startup Bootcamp Accelerator Program on Sustainability on the back of 2022, the seat on our cap table. And we have, other people, angel investors that are equal on our
Hmm.
cap table. So we have capital that is running the company. Now, to your question, are we raising fund? Of course, at the current time, as I speak, we're raising capital, and to fuel all of these things that we've done and to fuel the growth, to cover more ground. We're actively doing that, and hopefully soon we might be able to make that announcement that we're closing
Hmm.
the round
We
of fund. But we're
okay,
actively raising money, to your question, as we speak.
that,
So
that's so amazing. But can you share with us for funders who watch this program? Most of them, everybody keeps talking about fundings. We are not getting enough funding. Can you share with us? You've been able to raise some funds. Can you share with us some of the things you've done, some of the things, maybe preparation, some of the things you did right that assisted you to be able to raise some funds. Yeah, can you share some of the things you did that would assist other architect founders that watch this program, either now or later, and maybe learn one or two things from your own story to go ahead and raise some funds? Yes.
I'm not an expert in this area,
Yes.
so I need to
Yeah.
say a lot
Yes.
of disclaimer. I don't have
Yes.
any
Yes.
expertise
Yeah.
uh, on
No, just
advising
tell
how
your
to
own
raise
story,
money.
what you did.
However,
Yes.
I would just stay authentic. I think for
Yes.
me,
Okay.
That's one of the things that I think, quite frankly, with founders, and I don't have a lot of credential to say all this yet. Hopefully, I will be able to say more boldly
Yes.
into the future. I think one
Yeah.
of the problem that I see on the continent is black being the folks aren't authentic in what they are
Mm-hmm.
building. We're solving a problem, and when capital touches your hand, just use it to solve problem and fix the continent. So that being authenticity, I think, is key. And don't chase vanity metrics. At least for me, I don't chase vanity metrics. I don't care how many
Mm.
likes we have on social media or how many we don't have. Does that bring money to the bank? If the answer is no, then get on to the tax that will bring money to the bank. So we don't chase vanity metrics and we don't do packaging. When I use that loosely,
Yeah.
though, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying folks are doing so. This is my own story. I don't
Yeah.
package, and it's a culture within AirSmat. Who we are is what you see. When we say this is who we are, that's who we are. We won't wrap ourselves in a gap in a clothing that is not ours. If you see what I mean. And I think
Mm.
if those who are funding, the investors, if they see, in my view, if they see that you're very authentic, and you are not, you have good metrics, not vanity metrics. You are forming partnership. You are increasing the number of customers, because at the end of the day, investor fund is like oxygen.
Yeah.
Or money is like oxygen to a business. If you make investor fund to be your own oxygen, when that money dries up, mostly the company dies. The best oxygen to have is sales. Sales, sales, sales. When you have money from sales,
Yeah.
is the best oxygen. So this is my own mentality. This is the way I talk to
Yeah.
people. Now, whether that helps anyone to respond, I don't have a clue. For example, but it's worked for us. So whether it will work for others,
Yeah.
I don't know. But get your numbers right. Know your business. Don't build desire. Don't just build because I like to build this or I can build this. Does it have enough market? Will people pay for that? If the answer is yes, yes, and the market is big, people will pay for it, then build. But don't just build desire, because desire is, if nobody will pay for it, then it's as good as wasting your time. And no
Mm.
investor will put money into such a venture. I'll keep quiet.
That's,
But please, to
thank
your
you.
audience and to you, whatever I said there, just take it like, oh yeah, it was just ranting. I'm
Yes.
not
Yes.
an
Thank you.
advisor
Thank you
in
very
that
much.
area. I
But
have
but but
zero skill there. So
yeah, but I like when you talked about being authentic, and then I also think some of the things you touched around was around intelligence. A lot of founders does not really have integrity, not intelligent. Integrity is the word. Yeah, integrity. So be authentic, have your integrity. What you say you are, that be let that be who you really are. Don't say something on don't display other metrics on social media, and that's not who you really are. So be authentic, and that's what I took from your what you said. So be authentic and have an integrity as a founder. My last question for you is: what's your final word to other architect founders who are trying to build? Perhaps they've not been able to raise funds, they've not been able to raise funds, but your general advice to startup architect startups who are still trying to build. Final
well,
word.
in my experience, this this isn't a sprint. It's a marathon.
Mm.
So be ready. It's not a dash. If you aren't ready for a marathon, just stop. You are in for a roller coaster. Have you seen mood swing before? You will see it on a steroid as a startup founder. Correct?
Mm.
You are so happy that the next time you are sad. So if you're not ready for that, just back off, because that's what you will get into. and then be ready for the marathon. This is my own experience. If you aren't ready, don't start. But if you must start, please solve real life problems. There are tons of problems on the continent of Africa affecting our people. We solve that problem. If we can solve, pick a problem. You don't need to copy someone, just pick one problem. You solve it and solve it well. If you do that well, and I do my own well, it's a matter of
Yeah.
when, not if, we would have solved problem for that so many of them on the continent of Africa, and would have helped over 1.4 billion people in doing that. That would be my advice. There are loads of problems. Just pick one and solve. Don't try and copy other people. Yeah, he's doing that. He's making money. I copy him so I can make money. Uh, that's not how Silicon Valley, that's not how California was built. People went there and picked different problems and they solved and made the US what it is today. That would be my advice, and be ready for the long haul. It's not a dash,
Ah,
it's a marathon. So
thank you very much for coming to the show today. We are really grateful to have you. A lot of value has been dished out this evening, and I believe my audience have gotten a lot of message from all the things you've shared. So, guys, please do it to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching from the YouTube channel, and then we'll do our best to always bring amazing guests your way. Until we come back again, stay tuned next week Friday. Always a pleasure to have all of you joining us. Thank you, sir, for once again for
yeah.
joining us this evening.
Thank you,
On this note,
Kenneth. Thank you for the opportunity. Truly
thank
grateful.
you, sir. Thank you. Please, on this note, to bring it to an end.